Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing.
Okay, good. Welcome to hybrid meeting of full council. Can I ask everyone to please mute their microphones at all times unless invited to speak by myself. Members should be mindful that microphones, when switched on, are sensitive and may broadcast other conversations being held in the vicinity. I would also ask members, when it is their turn to speak into the microphone so that they can be clearly heard by those in the chamber and those listening from home. First off, I have opening announcements, and Councillor Ratcliffe has indicated he wants to speak on the death of 13-year-old Katie Lafferty from Tandragee.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. It is with a heavy heart that I share the devastating news of another young life lost in Cusher DEA. Katie Lafferty, aged just 13 years of age, has left us far too soon. Her parents, Jason and Kathy, I have known for a lifetime. And to watch them endure the unimaginable grief is heart-wrenching. Katie was born with serious health challenges and unique needs, which meant she was no stranger to hospitals. Yet despite the hardship that Katie faced, her spirit shone brighter than words can capture. A beautiful service of thanksgiving was held in Ballymore Parish Church, and in keeping with Katie's vibrant personality, the family requested that bright colours to be worn to celebrate Katie's life, a symbol of the joy and light that she brought to this world. Even in the face of her struggles, Katie really shone brightly for everyone. During the service, the doctor who treated Katie shared his profound admiration for her strength, telling us how much he had learned from her and how deeply her memory would stay with him forever. The love Katie's family has for her was abundantly clear, especially as her parents, Jason and Kathy, also her twin sisters, Maisie and Poppy, spoke so movingly about her at the service. Their words were raw, filled with love, and raw emotion filled the air, and to be honest, there wasn't a dry eye in the church. It was clear to everyone present that Katie touched the hearts of all who knew her. Though her time with us was far too brief, her impact was immeasurable. Heaven has gained another angel. My deepest condolences go out to Jason, Kathy, Maisie, Poppy, and the entire Laverty and Atchison family. During this painful time, please know you are in our thoughts and prayers. I would also like to respectfully request that a letter of condolences be sent to the family from on behalf of the Council to express our shared grief and support during this heartbreaking time. Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ratcliffe, and we'll see if that letter is done. So, next to speak is Councillor Flaherty.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Ratcliffe, for bringing this to the floor this evening. Some will know I'm often very conflicted regarding this particular section of the meeting, but this one is personal. I'd also like to take a moment to extend my deepest condolences to the Laverty family on the heartbreaking loss of their beloved daughter, Katie. Katie was born at the same time as my son, Jack, and their paths crossed in those early days of life, many a time lying beside each other on the old 3 North Children's Ward. Both our children would have been 14 just last week. Her passing is a sorrow that is felt by many and one that touches me personally. So on behalf of the Ulster Unionist Group and from the depths of my own broken heart, I offer our sympathy and support to the Laverty family at this incredibly difficult time. Kathy, Jason, Poppy and Maisie, I will walk this path with you. May they find comfort in their memories and the love that surrounds them. Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Flaherty. And I'll bring in Alderman Berry, please.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. I would also like to be associated with the remarks on the very sad passing of young Katie Lafferty. I've had the pleasure of knowing Jason and Kathy for many, many years. They're personal friends, and I know for the 13 years. They've walked a very difficult, challenging, but a blessed time for them as well, because, as they said at the at the house on the evening of the wake, they wouldn't have changed it for one moment. The care, attention, love and compassion that Kathy and Jason and Poppy and Maisie, and indeed the grandparents, because it was a team effort, and they'll recognise that themselves, because of the care and attention that Katie required, they wouldn't have changed it for a moment. And whilst it is deeply sorrowing for them and for us as a community, the number of people at the funeral and at the wake was a clear sign of the love and the commitment that people locally had to the family. And whilst there's much pain and much sorrow, our hearts do go out to them, and we continue to think of them in our prayers. But as Julie has said, and Julie has walked that path, and we all know she has walked that path, and our hearts go out to her as well, because even days before Katie had died, Julie had been in regular contact with me personally, just because of the help and the assistance and the support that she gave to the family. So Julie's pain and anguish really helped the family through, because she walked that difficult path. So her commitment and her help to them was not in vain, and I think it's important that we acknowledge that tonight as well. Katie is now in heaven. There is absolutely no doubt about that, as the minister had said at the service. And whilst she has no more pain, she has no more anxiety, of course her parents and Maisie and Poppy and the grandparents have that massive loss in their hearts that only time will help. But our prayers go out to them, and I'm happy to be associated with the comments tonight.
Thank you, Alderman Barry, and I'll bring in Alderman Gareth Wilson, please, next.
Thanks, Deputy Lord Mayor. And just on behalf of our party, we would like to be associated with all those remarks that have been made, and we send our condolences also to the family of the late Katie at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Wilson, and Councillor Brona Hockey.
Thank you. Just on behalf of Sinn Féin, I would like to pass on our condolences to the family of Katie Laverty on her sad passing, and may she rest in peace.
Thank you, Councillor Hockey. And Councillor Peter Lavery is the last light of on this subject.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. On behalf of my own grouping, I'd like to concur with all the remarks made and pass on our condolences to Katie's family, her loved ones, and all those who feel her passing at this time. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Lavery, and we will see if the letter is sent off to the family, and indeed our thoughts and prayers are with the family at this sad time. Next is, I want to raise about the VE Day celebrations, and just to thank our staff, but also to thank the Very Reverend Shane Forster for the use of St Patrick's Cathedral in Armagh for the service of remembrance and thanksgiving, and also to thank our staff for all that they have done, and especially our catering staff as well downstairs, who put on a superb menu that night in the for the marking the VE Day and the lighting of the beacon here, and of course a lot of our community groups right across the length and breadth of our council area for organising the multiple events to mark the 80th anniversary of the event. So it is great to see that community voluntary sector working hard within to recognise that service and sacrifice that was made by so many. Alderman Power, you want to come in there?
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor, and just echo everything that you said there. I had the pleasure to go to the 100th birthday party of a D-Day veteran, which is absolutely fantastic. On the day, my son, who's 6 years of age, designed his own wee birthday card and delivered to him, just to thank him, and he wrote on it, "To our heroes," which nearly set him off, and it was absolutely it was brilliant. And he wrote back to him just to thank him for his letter. It was Pride in Place, just to say, you know, our heroes are still out there, and to thank them all. And thank you for your own comments. Thank you, Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Barr. That brings us on to apologies. We have apologies from the Lord Mayor, Councillor Sarah Duffy and Councillor O'Hanlon. Is there any other apologies from the floor? Oh, sorry. Councillor Lavery.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. I'd just like to give apologies for Councillor Alexander. Just put on record our congratulations to Councillor Alexander, his wife Zoe, and the new addition to their family this week, and baby Pippa. Hope they're all doing well at this joyous time. Thank you.
Indeed, pass on our congratulations to them, Councillor Lavery. And we have two members on remote, Councillor Mullen, Jude Mullen and Councillor Chris McCartan. And that's it, as we have at the moment. Sorry. Councillor Catherine Nelson, you want to come in?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and I wish you well in your turn of the meeting. You're doing an excellent job so far. Councillor Donnelly will be along, as will, have we, Councillor McCartan, you said his name, so Councillor Donnelly will be along, as will Councillor Mullen, but most likely online.
Okay, that's great. Right, now we get into the business. Council minutes. Can I have a proposer and a seconder for the minutes of the council meeting held on the 28th of April? Can we, to be taken read and as approved as a correct record? Can I have a proposer, please? Councillor McConville Walker and Councillor Mackle. Everybody happy? Great. Oh, Councillor McClelland.
Yes, Deputy Lord Mayor, thank you for letting me in. And it's just to raise a wee issue in terms of the action sheet from our last meeting at action number 5.4. And the subject matter is that we agreed as a council to write a letter asking for a meeting with HM Treasury Minister. And I note in terms of the action taken that it was noted. And I suppose my very quick, gentle question is, has the letter actually been written? Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor.
Councillor McClelland, I can confirm that the letter has been sent and is on its way. Happy enough, yeah? Thank you, Councillor McClelland. And can I have a proposer and a seconder for the minutes of the special council meeting held on the 1st of May 2025 to be taken read and is approved as a correct record? Anybody that was present at that, please. Can I have a proposer and a seconder? Councillor Kerr. Seconder, anybody? Councillor Lavery. Everybody happy with that? Any declarations of interest, or we can take them as we go through the meeting, members? Happy enough? Right, that brings us on to agenda item 4, and agenda item 4.1, minutes of the Environmental Services meeting held on the 6th of May 2025, to be taken as read and approved as a correct record. Could I call on the Chair to, are you happy to propose? Thank you, Alderman Tinsley. And Vice Chair, Councillor Evans, are you happy to second? Are we all agreed to adopt the minutes of the recommendations within Environmental Services Committee? Happy to move on. Item 4.2, we have the minutes of the Planning and Regulatory Committee meeting held on the 7th of May 2025 to be taken as read and approved as a correct record. Chairman, Councillor Armstrong, are you happy to propose? Thank you. Vice Chair, Councillor Peter Lavery, are you happy to second? Thank you. Are we all agreed to adopt the recommendations outlined within the Planning and Regulatory Committee minutes? All agreed? See no, oh, hold on, I have one light. Councillor Mary O'Dowd.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. There was just, I had spoke this morning with Ruth, PRC 792025. The comments that I made wasn't right. Now, I did confirm this with her this morning, and they were to be amended. They're still not amended, so.
Councillor Dowd, could you put forward the amendment you're looking at needs made in that, and then it'll be agreed here within the chamber, as I'm informed. You put your light on. I put your light on, I'll bring you in. Just if you read out the bit that needs. Okay.
Thank you. At that meeting, I had thanked Tom Lavery and his team for everything they had done on William Street. I also stated that I wish the rest of the departments within the council had have done the same and worked as hard, which wasn't the case. But in this, it says that I was criticising DFI, which wasn't the case. It was the other departments.
Now, members, members, please. Are members happy to make, for the amendment to be made? Everybody's happy? Thank you, members. That takes us to 4.3, the minutes of Community and Wellbeing Committee meeting held on the 12th of May 2025 to be taken read and approved as a correct record. And the Chair is Councillor Keith Hawkins. Are you happy to propose? Thank you. And Vice Chair Councillor Peter Herr. Are you happy to second? Thank you. Are we all agreed to adopt the recommendations contained within the Community and Wellbeing Committee meetings minutes? Are you happy to move on? See no lights. Thank you. 4.4, we have the minutes of Economic Development and Regeneration Committee meeting held on the 13th of May 2025 to be taken as read and approved as a correct record. And can I ask the Chair, Alderman Greenfield, are you happy to propose? Thank you. And Vice Chair, Councillor Jude Mullen, who's not here, or is he? Oh, he's online. Can I ask Councillor Jude Mullen if you're happy to second those? Or somebody else that was at the committee, happy to seconds? Yep. There's about 3 there, trying to seconds there at once, so there was, so you can take your pick. Well, Councillor Lavery, you're sitting. And agenda item 4.5, we have the minutes of the Governance, Resources and Strategy Committee meeting held on the 14th of May 2025 to be taken as read and approved as a correct record. And the chairman is Councillor Hockey. Are you happy to propose? Thank you. And Vice Chair, Councillor Ferguson, are you happy to propose? Seconds? Thank you. Are we all agreed to adopt the recommendations contained within the Governance, Resources and Strategy Committee minutes? Happy to move on. See no lights. Oh, hold on, sorry, apologies. I have one light here. Councillor Ian Wilson.
Thank you, Chair. It's just back to the Economic Development Committee. It's item EDR 39205. It's in relation to the Invest NI presentation. I know I'm not a member of that committee, but I just had a boring evening and decided to log on and listen and watch. And it was extremely disappointing that there's no land available around the Banbridge area through Invest NI. We're sitting on the economic corridor, a very unique position within this borough, and it's disappointing that no lands are available through Invest NI if we had any major industries looking to relocate to Banbridge. As I say, Banbridge is sitting there on the economic corridor, a very unique position within the borough, and it's just disappointing that everything seems to be concentrated in Craigavon. With a lot of people in my own area are basically commuting to Craigavon for jobs, a lot of big industry in around Craigavon, and it seems to be it's turning into a little Belfast within ABC area where people are commuting to get decent jobs. So just disappointing in that. Just want to make my point on that. Thank you.
Councillor Wilson, that's one that has been well rehearsed over the years in this council chamber, I can assure you, especially whenever our friends and Invest and I attend. So Alderman Tinsley, you want to, we'll note that? We have it, yeah? Oh, yeah. Alderman Margaret Tinsley, if you want to come in.
Yes, thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. I too have started listening in to many of the committees that I'm not actually serving on, just to get an understanding of what has been going on across the different committees. And in addition to that, there has been a number of work requests that I have been asking for within the council, different departments, and everything's falling back to, we haven't got the staff, oh, we're waiting for the staff, we're down staff, and it's constant across all of the areas. This isn't just for one particular area. I've worked in HR in the past, and I'm struggling to understand why it's taken 5 months to fill posts. Now, these are not director level posts where maybe there's a 3-month, someone maybe has to serve a 3-month notice period, but it's just too long. And I'm asking that HR could bring us a request as to why these are taking so long to fill. And what I'm hearing from officers throughout all of the departments is lack of communication between them and HR. And that can't be. It should be more improved than that. So I don't serve in this committee, but I would be very interested to hear. I'm not asking for a response tonight, Deputy Lord Mayor, because I don't want to hold the meeting back. But I would ask that if HR could bring it to us and help us to understand. And why, Deputy Lord Mayor, we are actually waiting until someone leaves before we even start the recruiting process, when someone maybe has given a 3-month notice period. It just doesn't make sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Tinsley. I'll bring in our Deputy Chief Executive here just to respond to you, if that's okay.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Alderman Tinsley, for your query. We will bring a report back in that regard. It was actually raised at governance under the HR and OD business plan that it should be added in around recruitment timescales as well. And our head of HR and OD did join the call at that point in time to explain all of the various stages that there are, through from a request coming from the service, which sometimes doesn't come as early as it could, and then the bits that are obviously within the gift of HR. We also are finding very long delays in terms of following up references and other things in terms of the actual applicants as well. But I think it'll be helpful for members to see all of the various stages that are involved and where those are. So that will come back in due course. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Chief, for updating us on that. Can I bring in Councillor Catherine Nelson next, please?
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. And it is just to second. It probably doesn't need a second proposal, but I absolutely agree, because like Alderman Tinsley, I am getting regular emails to say some of the very basic things that we request day and daily can't be done because we don't have the staff. So it's trying to understand, is it a recruitment issue? Have we a shortage? And if we do, how and why, are we going to address it? So I do think that would be an important piece as well, if it could include where there's gaps in staff shortages, so that we can get an understanding. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Nelson. And Councillor Julie Flaherty wants to in.
Give me my full title there, if we did. Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor, for letting me in, and thank you, Alderman Tinsley, for raising that. Before I say anything, I probably do have to declare an interest, as you all know, because my husband is a member of staff, just to be clear, and I can also attest how long that took. But if I can just say one thing to you, I'm glad you did raise this, because we're on, and yourself, Councillor Nelson, because we're all stuck in this hamster wheel. And I'll give you an example, and I also want at the same time to say thank you to some of our staff, because I'll use the example, and again, you'll hear me talk about this place a lot, Kernan Cemetery. It's a very special place for lots and lots and lots of us. And I wasn't criticising for the sake of it, but you could tell quite clearly that there was a lack of staff quite severely from December. This is now the end of May. Now, I'm delighted to say that we have a staff member has started in May, and you can see the difference already. And the place has got a great tidy up. The place looks fabulous. Yes, on the back of that, I want to thank the staff down there, because it is a thankless job down in Kernan at times, and it's a job that not many really actually would probably want to do for whatever reason, but they are so diligent and they are so careful and so respectful of everyone's space there. So thank you, but it really was quite unsatisfactory to me that the staff that were there were left without help for such a long time. Like that's just not right in a whole lot of levels. So, but thanks for picking that up and picking up a few other wee queries I had about it. And when you can get it done, it be's done, which I think is the frustration for a lot of us. So yes, those figures would be very useful, and thank you for raising that.
Thank you, Councillor Flaherty. Yes, all comments have been noted and will be in the report coming back if members are happy with that. Okay. Yeah, just to update the meeting, Councillor Ashley Mallon has joined the meeting online as well. So just to update. That takes us now on to 5.1. And members are advised that this matter was considered at the Environmental Services Committee meeting held on the 6th of May 2025, when members recommended that the proposal from Alderman Mutry, seconded by Alderman Greenfield, that the Council does not accede to this request, be deferred to full Council meeting on the 27th of May to enable further legal advice to be sought. Before we discuss this matter, I'll hand over to Claire Duddy, Head of Climate, Sustainability and Parks, to present the report.
Good evening, and thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. Good evening, members. This is a decision item. You're asked to consider a request from Lurgan Pride to set up event infrastructure in Lurgan Park on Saturday, the 16th of August 2025, for the purpose of speeches and live music from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. As the Deputy Lord Mayor has alluded to, earlier this month at the Environmental Services Committee meeting, a report was tabled in relation to a request which had been received from Lurgan Pride requesting permission to use Lurgan Park for an event on Saturday the 16th of August from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. A copy of the original report is attached in Appendix 1 together with the Quality Screening Report, which is in Appendix 2. As per the original report, members were advised that Lurgan Pride has submitted a request to Council to finish their procession and to hold an event in Lurgan Park. Lurgan Pride has informed officers the event will involve speeches from charities and from members of local trade union movement, as well as live music. The applicants have also proposed a small number of vendors be on site for this event. The matter is being presented to Council for decision, as under Council bylaws, the consent of Council is required for certain activities to take place on specified Council lands, as is detailed in the report before you. During the Environmental Services Committee meeting, the timing of the event was queried. Lurgan Pride have since confirmed with officers that they wish to hold an event in the park on the 16th of August from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. At the committee meeting, comments were made about the exclusion of some political parties from the proposed event. However, following the meeting, the event organisers have informed officers that at no time have they stated that any person or group would not be welcome to attend Lurgan Pride. The organisers have informed officers that all persons were welcome, regardless of community background or political party, to both march in the parade and to enjoy the celebrations in the park. The organisers have said that executive parties would not, however, be welcome to fly party banners, placards or flags during the parade. During this month's Environmental Service Committee meeting, Alderman Mutry proposed that the Council do not accede to this request, and this was seconded by Alderman Greenfield. Councillor Hockin also sought clarity at that meeting on whether Council would be contravening any equality laws by rejecting the request. legal advice was sought. The Legal Governance Monitoring Officer is in attendance this evening to provide advice as required. However, members should appreciate that any legal advice will be provided in confidential session. So with that, members are asked to consider the request from Lurgan Pride to set up event infrastructure in Lurgan Park on Saturday the 16th of August 2025 for the purpose of speeches, live music from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. Thank you, members.
Thank you, Claire. And just to update the meeting, Councillor Donnelly has now joined online as well. Can I now clarify with Alderman Mutry and Alderman Greenfield if they still wish the proposal made at Environmental Services Committee on the 6th of May 2025 to proceed? I'll call in Alderman Mutry.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor, and I thank Claire for her briefing. In relation to this issue, which is both unique and complex, can I ask, first of all, are officers in possession of legal advice around the use of Lurgan Park on that date? And if so, can legal advice be shared with elected members so that an informed decision can be taken ultimately?
Members, as we've been asked for legal advice, we are going to have to go into confidential business. And I'd like to, members and listeners to the online or to the audio feed, in accordance with Schedule 6 of the Local Government Act, we will now be moving into a confidential session of the Council. This means that we'll be turning off the public audio feed of the meeting, and this will be returned when the meeting is restarted. Now, apologies, I jumped the gun a wee bit there. I need a proposer and a seconder. Proposed by Councillor Armstrong and seconded by Councillor Mary O'Dowd. Thank you. Members, we're now, can I... Okay. And can I now, I'm going to ask this question again, can I now clarify with Alderman Mutry and Alderman Greenfield if they still wish the proposal made in the Environmental Services Committee on the 6th of May to proceed? Alderman Mutry.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. I'm conscious that we're in the middle of a debate here, and I want to hear the debate in its fullness before I decide what to do with the proposal.
Okay, Alderman Mutry. I have, just before we went into public session, we had Councillor Ratcliffe that wanted to speak and Councillor Lavery, so I'm going to bring in Councillor Ratcliffe.
I'm okay, Deputy Lord Mayor, at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Lavery, you had indicated you want to speak.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. Pride events offer people the chance to celebrate who they are and how they live. Allowing access to council facilities is the least we can do to recognise the valuable contribution the LGBTQIA+ citizens make to our borough. The first ever Lurgan Pride last year was a historic moment of equality, diversity and inclusion for the town, with many residents looking forward to this year's larger event. Therefore, at the committee meeting earlier this month, it was deeply concerning to see elected representatives from the DUP and TEV attempt to exclude Lurgan Pride from accessing council facilities. Such a decision could only be seen as a discriminatory act against the minority community. I do not believe there is any lawful reason to refuse this request from Lurgan Pride. Alliance is proud to support equality and inclusion for everyone in our society, and as such, I propose ABC Council allows Lurgan Pride to use Lurgan Park for the event, and I wish them well. Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor.
I will have to check Alderman Mutry if his proposal still stands before I take any other proposals from the floor. Alderman Mutry.
Deputy Lord Mayor, as the debate's still ongoing, I'll withdraw the proposal for now. But that's all I'm saying.
And Alderman Greenfield. Thank you, Alderman Greenfield. Next then, I have Alderman. Is there a second, sir, for that proposal? That's Councillor Hawke.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. I'm happy to second that. I think the legal advice has been clear. I think the group has the right to use this park. We're all aware of that now. And I would like to call for a recorded vote, please.
I still have more speakers to bring in. Alderman Baxter.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor, and thank you for your patience. And thanks for all the legal advice that we sought and the answers that we have got. But as I've said, I think we have more questions now probably than answers. And I've said quite clearly, and we don't want to stop anybody using our park. I think the concerns we have when you read the paper and seen the social media post where it's excluding political parties, I think that I probably have a counter proposal, which I'll make at the end before when I finish your remarks. But I think our problem is not with allowing people into the park. The issue we have is what it says about speeches in a public park. And as I've said previously, it was always my view in the 14 years that I've been in council that you weren't allowed to hold political speeches or political rallies within the public park. It had to be behind closed doors. Now, the legal advice obviously has challenged that view, but to me, that has been custom and practice here and all my time in council since 2011. So we have a lot more questions than we have answers. And what we have here, we don't actually have a policy on it. We have custom and practice. That's the custom and practice of what we've done. We take each application as it comes, and I don't want to stray back into legal advice here, but it's just my understanding. So we don't actually have a policy. So I think it would be prudent of this council to develop a policy, because there is so many questions around setting aside bylaws. I would imagine, especially some of the new members, probably aren't even fully informed as to what that even means, because I've been here 14 years. Yeah, we've done it many times, but like, am I fully aware of all the detail and the legal jargon? None of us are legally trained on these benches. So we have a lot of questions, and I would like to propose that we do, without pushing it to a vote tonight, that we have a workshop with John Paul Shields and Kate, a legal workshop, to tease out all these questions as we have before. Because while that advice was clear, you know, if we take the legal advice, there'd be no need for courts if there wasn't different opinions, and there's a different opinion here. So we need to be clear in our own minds and tease all the questions out and digest what legal advice we've got before us here tonight. So I'd make a formal proposal. I know you have a proposal on the table, Chair. So we'd make this proposal, and then you can deal with the first proposal if you would like. But maybe the members that made the proposal would agree to it, to have some sort of a roundtable discussion where we invite higher legal counsel and our own council's legal people to tease this out, and maybe even look toward developing a policy, because in the absence of a policy we're just using custom and practice, which again we're told really isn't the best way to do business. So I think there's lots of questions here need answered before we'd be comfortable making any decision tonight either way on this proposal. So that's a formal proposal, Chair.
Alderman Baxter, you know, as you rightly said, we'll have a proposal on the floor. We're going to have to take it first, as advice given to me here. So it is, and it's been proposed by Peter Lavery and seconded by Councillor Hawken, and it's a recorded vote. So, all content with that? Oh, sorry. Oh, wait. Bring you back in.
I think given the proposal on the table that we want to defer this, you know, so if we're seen to be voting against this proposal now, you know, and in essence we're not, because we want to see if my proposal stands. Yep. So I wonder what the proposer even consider, and if he doesn't consider, we necessarily don't, we haven't made up our mind without that higher legal advice whether we want to vote against this or not. So it's from our side it's an uninformed decision when there's a counter proposal on the table. So whilst we'd be voting against that, really the message would be in the minutes that we were opposed to it when we haven't said either way whether we are or not. So we're in a bit of a tricky one here, and I would appreciate maybe even legal advice on that.
Councillor Lavery, I'm going to bring you in there. Are you happy with what has counter proposal here, or are you still wanting to push ahead with your proposal?
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Well, firstly, I have to think that that's a load of rubbish from Alderman Baxter, quite frankly. Dancing on the head of a pin. My proposal is clear. We allow this event. We do have a policy in place. We do have a policy in place. This group has filled in the required forms. They've dotted all the I's. They've ticked all the T's. They've done everything they did. They provided the additional advice, I think, to officers. We have received, Deputy Lord Mayor, we have received clear legal advice. So as far as I'm concerned, my proposal is a lawful one. Now, if Alderman Baxter and his group want to have a workshop after this and talk about this in more detail in terms of generalities, that's a matter that we'll come to after this proposal has been decided upon. But this is fundamentally, Deputy Lord Mayor, our proposal is fundamentally about whether or not we should allow this lawful group to lawfully book our park. I propose we do that in line with legal advice. My proposal is clear, Lord Mayor, and I'd be concerned that if anyone did vote against this lawful legal proposal, that they'll be getting themselves and this organisation in a lot of legal bother. And as I said, a recorded vote has been requested, and we'll see how it goes, Chair. Or Deputy Lord Mayor. Thank you.
Members, we have one proposal on the table that's been seconds, and are you all content with, or do you want to go to vote? Right, okay, I'm happy to bring in different speakers here. Councillor Nelson.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. I think there is just a couple of things that I would want to ensure is on the public record. Firstly, because there is a huge interest in this, the proposal on the floor from Alliance and Sinn Féin is absolutely clear. There's no confusion around it, so a vote against it is a vote against Pride having their event in our park. And I think trying to play the public as fools is not a good look for this council. We have a policy. The policy is that you fill out the form and that it is considered on an individual basis. That's our policy. So members feigning a lack of awareness tonight is nothing more than a delaying tactic. Let's call this out for what it is, a workshop, more conversation. It's a delaying tactic. People saying that they have more questions. Well, let's ask them. Let's adjourn the meeting for 20 minutes. Let's allow everybody to go away and list down their questions, and let's bring them back to this chamber tonight, because ultimately a workshop or bringing this to another committee is going to see the same charade played out, and it will fool absolutely no one. So if there's genuine questions, I propose an adjournment. Legal is here tonight. We have paid for legal to be here tonight. It would be foolhardy to then have that twice. I would understand if the legal advice wasn't clear. It's clear as day. It's been signed off by a KSE. Folks, we're not fooling the public here. So if I propose an adjournment, and that any further questions are brought back, and that we then go to a vote on this matter. And that, for me, will ensure that any judge that looks at this
You've heard a proposal from Councillor Nelson. Councillor Paul Duffy, you're up next.
Yes, thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. I just want to say it was alluded to from Councillor Baxter that there would be political speeches made at this. There's no political party going to be speaking at it. There'll be trade unions, there'll be other organisations speaking at charities and such, and they will have their view on different things, on their work for the LGBTQ plus community, on their employment rights, on whatever they want to talk about. And it's not, they're not political parties, so there won't be political speeches. So this sort of thing coming to this council isn't doing this council any favours whatsoever. This council a number of years ago applied for City of Culture, which Bradford is sitting with City of Culture now this year. If things like this here come to this council area will never, ever have a City of Culture, because the committees and them groups that judge events like that there are going to look at this council and comical proceedings like this here and just laugh at us and just give us a blow off and just say, no, you failed on this, you failed on that. And really, we failed on meetings like this here. And that's my opinion. Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Duffy. I'd call in Councillor Julie Flaherty, please.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. I appreciate there was a call for an adjournment. And I think actually that's necessary at this minute in time, because what I'm afraid of is that we forget what we're talking about here. This is process, not people. And I'm getting slightly concerned in that respect. So if that adjournment of 20 minutes, I think that would be a very good idea for all concerned.
Councillor Flaherty, I was going to bring one more speaker in and then I'm going to adjourn, but I'm not adjourning for 20 minutes. It'll be a 10-minute adjournment. So, seconds that.
Thank you, Deputy Lord Mayor. Look, and just to be clear, I realise that this is an emotive subject, and there are members here that need to get headlines in the paper, need to get their tweets out and do whatever. But I'm not in the business of promotion and self-promotion when it comes to these issues. What we want to do, we want to make the right decision, we want to make legal decisions, and we want to make decisions that protect everybody. Our party strongly feel that we don't have all the facts and all the detail. We're saying there's a policy. I've never seen the policy. Custom and practice is not a policy. They're two different things completely. I think there's a lot of questions need answered. I think there are many times that we have brought in workshops and brought in barristers for things when we're not clear and stuff. And I think I'm not a legal mind. I'm not comfortable with making a decision tonight without being furnished with all these details and having it clear in my members and 13 of us and all our own minds. So my counter proposal won't be a vote against anything. My counter proposal, if the original proposal actually does come to a vote and fails, my counter proposal is actually to defer it on the basis that we're going to have a workshop and we're going to take legal advice and maybe work towards having a policy. So it's not voting against anything, it's just voting to defer it. So, like, you know, they can grandstand all they like, but because it's total nonsense.
Thank you, Alderman Baxter. Now, this is the last speaker I'm bringing in before we adjourn, Councillor Mary O'Dowd.
Thank you, Chair. It's just, Alderman Baxter is saying about legal advice and legal advice. We've had it over and over again here. It's been repeated over and over again by Kate, who has done her homework, and it has been marked by a barrister. So I don't know what other legal advice is needed. Thank you.
Just to notify online listeners, we're now adjourning for a 10-minute and we'll bring you back in whenever we start again. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome back, online viewers. We're now going to pick up where we left off after a short adjournment. We have a proposal on the table, and which is seconds it, and to approve the Lurgan Pride request. Is everybody content with that, or is it going to a vote? No, right. Going to vote. Or Councillor? No. Okay, right. And it was a recorded vote requested, so we'll be having a recorded vote. So the lines are now open. Members, we're about to close the vote. Members, the vote is as follows. Yes, 16, no, 14, 7 abstained. And the following are the names that voted yes. Councillor Donnelly, Councillor Duffy, Councillor Ferguson, Councillor Hockey, Councillor Hockian, Councillor Johnson, Councillor Lavery, Councillor Mackle, Councillor Mullen, Councillor Jude Mullen, Councillor McConville Walker, Councillor McGowan, Councillor Nelson, Councillor O'Dowd, Councillor O'Kane, and Councillor Kevin Savage. And no Councillor Armstrong, Alderman Baxter, Alderman Greenfield, Councillor Hare, Councillor McClelland, Councillor McElrath, Councillor Mutray, Alderman Mutray, Councillor Mulholland, Alderman Rankin, Councillor Ratcliffe, Alderman Tinsley, Alderman Wilson, and Councillor Wilson. And abstained, Alderman Barr, Alderman Berry, Alderman Burns, Councillor Evans, Councillor Flaherty, Alderman Kennedy, and myself. Motion's carried, or the proposal's carried. Moving on to agenda item 6, schedule of correspondence. 3 items for noting. Are we happy to note? I see no lights. Thank you. And agenda item 7 is documents requiring corporate seal for approval. Do you want me to go through them one by one, or are you happy to take them on block? Block. Everybody. Oh, proposed by Councillor Mackle to take on block. Have we a seconder for that? Secretary Ian Wilson. Okay, thank you. Try to get my pen. Now, can I have a proposer and seconder that we go into committee for consideration of confidential items of business? Proposer, Councillor Ratcliffe, Councillor O'Dowd, second. Members and listeners to the online audio feed, in accordance with Schedule 6 of the Local Government Act, we will now be moving into a confidential session of the Council. This means that we will be turning off the public audio feed of the meeting, and this will be returned whenever the meeting is restarted. ICT, can you... Can I have a proposer and seconder to adopt the decisions taken in committee? Councillor Mackle and Councillor Evans. And agenda item 10, any other relevant business? I have not received any. So, members, that concludes the full council meeting. Thank you for your cooperation, and I hope everyone has a safe journey home.